WNEM TV5 News starts right now with a breaking news alert.
And that breaking news out of Flint. This is a live look at the Flint River where authorities are searching for a vehicle.
Now, details are sketchy right now, but state police tell TV5 witnesses saw a car go in, now in the area of East 5th Avenue and James Cole Boulevard.
Now, the call came out around 8:45. As you can see, several emergency personnel are on scene. We're told that vehicle may have been located and a crane is on hand to remove it from the river. Now, of course, we will continue to bring you updates to this breaking news as details come into the continuous news center.
And we are in storm mode tonight as you take this live look over Bay City, Saginaw, and Flint.
A quick look at our First Warn 5 Sky Tracker, and you can see why. Rain moving across a chunk of mid-Michigan.
And it's only the start, meaning potential flooding for areas that were saturated to begin with.
So let's take a look at the overnight forecast. For that, we turn to Chief Meteorologist Brian Bachman. Hi, Brian.
Hi. It's not going to take much, hi guys, to really kind of aggravate the flooding issues we were already seeing, even just from the little bit of rain we had on Sunday night. And we're, as you saw there on the Sky Tracker, starting to see more of that rain beginning, and it's really just the very beginning, tip of the iceberg here as we go into the overnight period. First Warn 5 Sky Tracker once again. A lot of you folks probably closer to 7 o'clock tonight. Remember that first round of showers that came through? Some of it a little noisily so, as a couple of thunderstorms were mixed in there too. Decent amount of lightning. We're seeing more of that activity, and we've really started to see, especially as you look back to the west and south, a lot of proliferation of the shower and thunderstorm activity that is pushing its way up from the south and west. It's just going to continue at times through the overnight period and into really the vast majority of our Thursday. As for the temperatures, at least they're staying mild right now, but that's kind of, adding to the instability in the air. 57 in Flint, no rain for you folks right now, but it is still raining in Midland at 53 degrees. Saginaw also reporting rain, as is Bay City, with both temperatures also in the low 50s. Now, on top of everything else here, we're actually looking at the potential anyway for a little bit of a severe weather threat tomorrow, mostly in the form of a little bit of hail, possibly some damaging winds, and a marginal risk for the chance of a few isolated thunderstorms, mostly tomorrow afternoon, that hold the potential of becoming severe. As for tonight, that rain just continues, increases in strength and intensity, or in coverage, that is, as the night goes on. Temperatures tomorrow very mild, getting into the low 60s once again. I'll have rainfall totals for you coming up.
All right, Brian, thank you. And people who live near the water will keep a close eye on the weather, including those who live at this home in Bridgeport. It's surrounded by water on 3 sides. A man visiting his son's children there is keeping his fingers crossed.
The previous owner, who lived here for 45 years, said he never had water reach this house yet. So we're hoping that this storm doesn't break that record.
He says the home's about 2.5 feet above the water level. Now be sure to check in with meteorologist Daphne DeLorean before your morning commute. She'll tell you how your day is shaping up on Wake Up starting at 5. And don't forget to sign up for alerts and school closings. You'll find them under the weather tab on our homepage.
And developing news, we are working to learn more about a body found near a local apartment complex. At around 6 tonight, crews were called to the area behind Green Pine Acres in Burton. That's near Burton Glen Charter Academy. We're told the victim was a black male.
I seen the coroners bring the body out. I stopped a police officer and asked him what happened. He said, I can't say nothing.
And TV5 has calls into the police detective handling that case. We'll bring you more details as they come into the continuous news center.
Police investigating a suspicious death discovered during a wellness check. They found a man's body this afternoon after neighbors hadn't heard from him in days. It was in a home in the 1200 block of Irving in Saginaw. Police did not say how the man died. They are awaiting the results of an autopsy.
He was convicted of carjacking and sentenced to decades behind bars. Tonight, Omar Pouncey is a free man. A judge ruled in his rights were violated at trial after he was given 2 poor choices for defending himself. Andrew Keller joins us in the Continuous News Center to explain. Drew.
Yeah, Omar Pouncey was released a little more than 48 hours ago. In that time, he says he's already had some memorable moments. He says he's been able to hug his grandmother, and he met his 2 nephews for the first time. And Pouncey now free after spending time behind bars for crimes he says he did not commit.
10 years, 5 months, and 14 days, man.
Numbers forever etched in Omar Pouncey's brain. It's the exact amount of time he spent in prison. On Monday, the count stopped as he walked out of federal court in Detroit with his grandmother and lawyer by his side.
I was supposed to come home when I was 105 years old. Came home, I'm 28. Even though I had to suffer, You know, I think everyone has to suffer in their own particular form or fashion, and this is the way.
Pouncey is from Flint. He says the disaster started back in 2005 when he was convicted in a Genesee County court of armed robbery and carjacking. The then 18-year-old says he had to represent himself when the judge refused to let him hire his own attorney.
Everybody say a person who represents themselves as a fool and as an attorney. Well, I was forced to be in that position.
Locked up, Pouncey maintained his innocence and says he spent thousands of hours studying law. He says he had to find a way to prove it. He then found David Moffitt, a Detroit area-based attorney who believed him.
He was made to spend 10 years in prison unjustly, but it was perhaps the harshest and most thorough law school experience that one could endure.
The two men prepared Pouncey's appeal together and took it to a federal judge for review. On Monday, that judge ruled Pouncey's rights were violated.
The federal judge declared it when he said that I was steamrolled as an 18-year-old when I was forced to represent myself. You know, it's unheard of.
Pouncey was released on a $10,000 bond and strict conditions. He has to wear a tether and has travel restrictions. And the judge stipulated that Moffitt must employ Pouncey at his law firm.
That's unique in my legal experiences, and maybe anyone's, to have a federal judge order someone to come work for you.
I imagine getting out of prison, but I never imagined this.
Just 48 hours after being released, Pouncey has a new office in the law firm. He set his goal to go to law school.
I can't waste a minute, a second. I can't. It's already been taken away.
And Pouncey is not in the clear yet. Genesee County prosecutors plan to appeal the federal judge's decision. If they lose the appeal, they'll retry the case. Pouncey says he'll be ready. Live in the Continuous News Center, Andrew Keller, WNEM TV5.
Drew, thank you. Appeal denied for a man who kept several counties on edge, including one in mid-Michigan, by shooting at cars on the highway. Raleigh Castile of Wixom was sentenced to up to 40 years on terrorism charges 2 years ago for firing at 24 vehicles in October of 2012. The shootings occurred in 4 counties, including Shiawassee. According to the newspaper in Livingston, the state Supreme Court decided not to review Castile's case. His earliest chance for parole is November of 2030.
And a similar scare today for drivers in South Carolina. Authorities have arrested a suspect they say stood on an overpass and fired at several vehicles on Interstate 20, about 20 miles southwest of the capital city of Columbia. Now, one person was shot and is hospitalized in stable condition. Deputies have not identified the suspect.
The national controversy over Flint's contaminated water is taking its toll on the perceived leadership of Governor Snyder.
At more than 1,900 votes, he holds the #1 spot in a poll on the Forbes magazine website as one of the world's 19 most disappointing leaders.
He's even higher than Martin Shkreli, the drug company's CEO who infamously raised the price of an HIV medication more than 3,700%. The magazine says the crisis in Flint was the result of Snyder's team trying to save money on water, and when it blew up in his face, he tried to shift blame.
The chairman of the Michigan Democratic Party released a statement calling Snyder the state's most disappointing governor and saying the world is now taking notice. So we asked on Facebook what you think of the governor's overall leadership.
Well, Sharon says, what leadership?
Jeremy says the governor has done a really good job.
Verla points out Michigan is not in debt like California and other states.
But then Dan says, how is he not in jail yet?
Well, let us know what you think. Post your comments to our TV5 Facebook page.
And a mark of distinction for the doctor credited with bringing Flint's water problems to the public's attention. Dr. Mona Hanna-Atisha is the featured speaker at MSU's upcoming undergraduate commencement ceremony. The Hurley Hospital pediatrician will address students at the Breslin Center on May 6th and receive an honorary doctorate of science degree.
A local church taking donations to help the Chapman family who lost everything when their home exploded Friday in Hemlock. The event is tomorrow afternoon from 4 to 8 at Faith of the Nazarene in Bay City. They're asking for any hygiene products, food or household items, as well as furniture and monetary donations. Now you can also drop off items at Hemlock High School.
A desperate struggle in a subway station caught on camera.
Yeah, find out why these people are fighting and how it turns out in our Coast to Coast report.
And Lions linebacker DeAndre Levy calls out the NFL. Scott will explain why in Sports Extra.
Are you looking for a job? Are you looking for a better job? When and where you need to be straight ahead.
And a quick reminder, if you have a tough question you'd like us to ask, call us at one of the numbers on your screen or send us an email.
And here's a look at the First Warn 5 Sky Tracker. We're keeping an eye on storms with the potential to cause flooding across mid-Michigan. We'll be right back.